Oh, we're just straight live with this one. What is happening, folks? Welcome to a special episode 9 Nerd Yards on July 4th. Happy Independence Day to everybody out there. If anybody's watching from any other country besides the United States, you guys are like, what? You guys celebrate too hard. It's our Independence Day. We're going to go hard. That's what we do. But we are here basically for one reason only. Ultimate Fighter Episode 6 breakdown. And the winner of tonight's fight, and we've been talking to him all season so far, is Kurt Holobaugh. Kurt, baby, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm good. Tough fight, but I was able to pull it off, secure the victory, move on to the semifinals. So I've never felt better.
Yeah, dog. Bro, when he said Hail Mary Holobaugh, how'd you feel about
Yeah, it was cool. And Chandler said that to me a lot during camp after that fight. But man, that so many different nicknames people were giving me. And really, I never thought about it, but no, man, that's a pretty cool nickname.
it's pretty like on par, pretty on brand now.
No, for sure. And I mean, you start describing that fight. I'm probably a minute and a half away from losing. So I mean, what do you need? You need a Hail Mary, and you know, sometimes you got to go for it. Take what they give you.
But and I love that it's Hail Mary, but also too, it's MMA, bro. Like at any point, you still have a second left in the fight. The fight goes the other way real quick.
For sure. It's not like your other sports where like you can have three or four score lead, two or three touchdowns, and it's like 2 minutes left in the game. There's no possible way. There's always a way in MMA. Until
Right.
the last second, anything can happen. That's what makes the sport so cool.
Absolutely. Absolutely, bro. Well, let's talk about the fight and then we'll talk about how your fourth is going real quick, man. Um, they the build up for this, bro. I love every bit of it that they included. How did they set you up when you were at home? Because that's sort of some of my favorite footage. Do they send you with a mic, or they're just like, hey, record on your phone and just send us some footage? How does that work?
Yeah, so they send you a camera and say, "Hey, record as much as possible. We want everything you want to record. Set the camera up, have casual conversation. Don't even worry about the camera, and bring it back to us." And that's what I did. I set the camera, did as much as I could, and really thought that I probably had one of the best home videos that probably I've ever seen on TUF.
Yeah, it was fun. It was good. You know what was fun just for me personally is as much as we've talked, it's seeing the fact of you're like, oh, this is my house and it's on what did you say, 20 acres?
20 acres.
Bro, you got all the animals too. Everyone in Old McDonald's had a farm and they all lived on Kurt Hollabaugh's farm. Is that what's going on?
Basically, that is what's going on, man. Too many animals to count, and they're a handful. I can tell you that.
I love it. I love it. And then I loved how they showed. I think it's such a southern thing too because we do it here, the crawfish broil, bro. Like that's so southern, and it's so like on brand with like what goes on like a random weekend throughout whatever month it is.
Yeah, man. Look, that's my thing. I love to either boil seafood or throw something on the grill. You know, man, I can't even tell you how many crawfish balls I've done this year. I mean, I don't even know. I like the bowl. I like the bowl. I like to eat, but it's always a good time to me.
Factuals. All right, so let's talk about this fight, man. For my money, and I don't know for you, the fight was fought on the ground a lot more than I thought it was going to be. Was that the same sort of feel that you thought looking back on the fight now?
For sure. I knew we didn't stand up much. From the very get go, I stepped to him and threw a hard low kick.
That
He
leg
caught
kick
my,
and then immediately takedown.
yeah, and put me down. And we had a couple of exchanges back and forth. I just, I couldn't hold that top position that I wanted. I should have maybe slowed down a little bit, secure my position, but just I think I was too much in go mode, never settled, and couldn't hold a good position. So yeah, I spent the majority of all of first round on my back.
And to your point, there was that takedown that you started in the first round, and it seemed like it was either rushed or just like you were out of position before you knew it because you went for the takedown and immediately the position got reversed.
Right. So yeah,
Um,
yeah. Second round, he threw that knee, and I hit him with a takedown. But when I did, he hugged my neck for a guillotine, and I didn't think it was tight at first. And then you can see I had to go to my back to because I knew it was starting to get tight, and
mhm.
I had to give something up.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, and at certain points, I think let's go to the first round real quick. At certain points through it, um, it seemed like I was like, bro, Kurt knows how to defend this. He's been here. He knows what it takes. Maybe he's working on his wrestling. You know what I mean? I know he wants to work on that. I know he's trying to develop that. But it seemed like he wasn't doing much damage until he did. And then there was a lot of elbows coming in, and it didn't seem like you were affected by any of them until the second round you got cut. Is that right? Was it from an elbow or a punch?
I think it's definitely from an elbow, and yeah, I mean, he was landing some good shots here and there, but never really hit me with anything that really hurt me. I felt them, of course,
Right.
but nothing really hurt me. Nothing ever really slowed me down. It's just, I don't really know. I was just being too hesitant on the bottom and wouldn't
Mhm.
slow down when I was on top. So I just couldn't really get it going. And I mean, it could have been because, man, before that fight, I hadn't fought in 2 years. I've never believed in ring rust before, but I felt like I was just starting to get going whenever I came back to the top. I felt like in the second round, whenever I finally got that position back on top, I felt like that was going to be game over. Whether I finished him or not, he wouldn't have been able to come back up. I was going to settle down, settle my position, and
Mhm.
hopefully I would have been able to ride the rest of that round out and win that round and move on to a third.
Right, right, right. And I mean, it started off strong for you, bro. Like on with the hands, bro. You was blessing him with the hands, and I'm not talking about baptism. You know what I'm saying? Like you was laying it on him heavy, and then again, y'all bodies collide. He went for the takedown. It went to the ground again, and as I'm watching it, I am thinking like at any point right now, Kurt's gonna reverse this. Kurt's gonna reverse this. Kurt's gonna reverse this. Because like I said before, just in my head, I was just like, bro, Kurt's gotta win this fight. Like, and I love how I thought that. And in this episode too, Connor's coaches were like, Kurt's probably gonna win this whole thing. When you was that the first time you had heard that?
Yeah, since we got back home and seen the episode, that was the first time, which was pretty cool. Because I don't know. I mean, there's everybody's so talented there. All the guys on our team did so many big things in the
Of
UFC,
course. Of
and
course.
I don't know. So for Kavanaugh to really say that, it means a lot. And it really says what these guys really think about me, also.
Right,
So
right. That's what I was gonna say. Like the respect factor, but also the recognition of this guy's talent. Like he's talented and he's not in the UFC. Like he will be there soon in our eyes. And it's not
for sure,
just your own coaching, team. These are world champion teams behind, Connor, who was a former coach, saying like, bro, do you see what I see? You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I
for
feel
sure.
like that has to feel great. Like even if it's from the other team, it has to feel great.
It definitely did, and because a lot of times, and one of my biggest reasons, I say this over on the episode, I probably didn't have the confidence in myself, and I didn't believe a lot in myself the first couple times I was in the UFC, just
Yeah.
because it's man, like, am I really good enough? I came from a small town that really had nothing, nobody's famous in my town, nobody professional fighter, actor, football player, nothing, like, and all of a sudden I'm in the UFC. Like, am I really that good? And and really, it's time that I start believing in myself.
We call this, so I do a dating and relationship podcast. We call this imposter syndrome. It's almost like, am I supposed to be here? And everybody around you is telling you you deserve to be here. You are you are good enough to be here. But you're like, but are you sure? Like, you sure it's me? It's not some other person from some other known place in the world that's not named me, right? Like, was that sort of the feeling?
I mean, yeah, man. It's like I was saying. I just, when I was there, I don't know. Maybe didn't believe that that was me there, or
Mm-hmm.
couldn't
Mm-hmm.
believe it. I'm here, I'm seeing all
Right.
these big stars that I've watched fight on TV for years, and I'm on a car with John Jones, Daniel Cormier, Jose Aldo, Anderson Silva. I'm fighting on cars with all these guys,
Right.
and these guys were fighting when I was never even training. So I'm like, for me to be there was kind of crazy.
That is crazy, man. But you're there and people think of that highly of you on the opposite team when they could talk shit on you. They don't. They're like, we think he's number 1 and we actually think he's going to win, and for them to put him as number 4 is like, all right, whatever, but like, we still got to go out and fight against this guy that we believe could win. Like, that is such a, I feel like, I mean, I'm building it up, but like, that feels like just such a high honor and like high compliment to be like, bro, you don't have to say that about me, you know?
Yeah, and it's the things like that that really give me that confidence, man. And like as I sit back and I'm watching and I'm seeing all of the stuff, which I feel like going on to the show, I really had a lot of confidence going into that show. To be honest with you,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go on that show not thinking that I wasn't gonna win a fight. When I matched up against Lee, I 100% in my mind knew that I could win that fight, and I knew that I was gonna win that fight. So I feel like that's what makes me a different fighter than I was the first go around or the first two go arounds in the UFC.
Factuals. I love that, man. And I love the story too behind it, because like, people can watch the first episode we did and sort of hear part of the story, but to hear the rest of the story, Sean Shelby was at this fight. I fought Pat Healy. It was Strike
Yep.
Force's last fight. Like, I was there. Like, and then I got the big call. Like, is it this it's such a beautiful story to hear, like, for me personally, because I talk to you every week, to hear those insights and to hear those details, to be like, oh wow, that's dope. You know what I mean? And it fills in the blanks a lot. So like, it's almost like, I'll say this to people, and not just to boost hype for the show, but like, if you want a full story, go back and listen to all the episodes you're on here, and then go watch this episode to have, I think, a more rounded context of like, this is who Kurt Holobaugh is and this is where he comes from.
For
You know what I'm
sure, and
saying?
that makes what a good candidate to put on an Ultimate Fighter show called Prospects versus Veterans. You know,
Bro, for real.
like I'm the perfect veteran to be on there.
Factuals, man. All right, let's sort of round out the talk of this fight, and we'll talk about what's going on with you for fourth. What would you have loved to have done different in this fight? I mean, besides being like, I wish I would have knocked him out in the first round. Of course, everybody would, but like, what would you have loved to have done different looking back on this, to be like, man, I should have switched position here, or I should have, gone for a different, takedown here, or I should have just been like, what's going on in your mind as you're watching this? What would you have done different a little bit?
Yeah, I should have just been able to hold my top position a little bit better. Normally I'm very good at that in the gym. I should have just slowed down a little bit and been a little more patient when I got that top position, and then maybe when I'm on the bottom, just a little bit faster. It looked like I was just a little bit behind on some of the things, and maybe it was just because I was showing him too much respect. Maybe he felt strong, heavy. I don't know, but maybe I just got to move a little bit quicker and have a lot more urgency whenever I'm on the bottom trying to get up.
Yeah. All right. That's a good point. And was he as big as everybody was saying that he was? Did you see that? Did you feel that? What was that?
No, he was by far the biggest guy in the house, even coming
Oh,
in. And that's one of the reasons why I like that I got to draw with him because I knew he was going to be big. I knew he was heavy, and I knew he's going to have a tough weight cut. And he did. I mean, the guy,
Mhm.
man, he was by far the biggest guy in the house, cut the most weight out of anybody in the house. Um, so I knew he was going to be big. I knew he was going to be strong, but I also knew that he was going to more than likely gas out on me, and I would be able to take the fight over.
I mean, that's what happened at the end. So you weren't far off, my friend. How was your weight cut going in for this fight?
They were really good. Coming into the show, my weight was already good, and I was trying to maintain a very good weight because at the time we didn't know when we were going to fight. We didn't know if I would be the first guy fighting or the last guy fighting. So,
Right.
I had to have my weight close. So my weight was actually really good. I normally do a pretty good diet, man, and I'm pretty strict with myself and honest with myself. So I kept my weight low, and I didn't have any problem making weight.
Fantastic, man. I love it. All right, let's get into this real quick. How was your fourth bend, Kurt? Let's get into some real life talk, man. What'd you do today? How was it?
Man, it's been really good. I spent the weekend. I drove to Georgia and spent the weekend with some of my family up there. And me and my wife and my kids, we drove back yesterday. And today we just kind of hung out at the house, you know, did some barbecue, stuff like
Nice.
that. And my wife's mom did a big old viewing party at Buffalo Wild Wings. So if we were not going to go just because we got to get up in the morning, we're going to Vegas tomorrow.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if we was gonna go, but my wife was like, "Why don't we just go and surprise them? Everybody's gonna be happy to see you." And I'm like, We ain't got nothing to do. Let's go." So that's actually where we're going right now. We're leaving Buffalo Wild Wings after having a huge viewing party, man, and it was cool. I really enjoyed it.
That's dope, man. Also, shout out to your family for just loaning you for me over here for a few minutes, man. They are
Yeah,
dope.
no,
I just want you to know they are dope for lending you over here for just a few minutes to talk to me on a holiday, man. So much
yeah,
much appreciation to them.
and that's what I told my wife. As soon as you hit me with the link, I'm like, "Oh man, I got to do this interview with Money Blake weather." I'm like, "Look, I gotta go sit out in the car." She was like, "All right, well," I said, "Son, give me your headphones." All right, here you go. All right, perfect. We're set, man.
We're
And I said,
setting
"Hey, you
up.
go ahead and drive. We'll knock these interviews out."
I really appreciate that, man. So when we're done, just give your family just the biggest of thank yous for me. But let's wrap this up, man. There's not much else to talk about. We can always talk about stuff next week, Kurt. But just shout out whoever you want to. Now you know what to do. Take over the show real quick, and just shout out everybody, man. Give some love to everybody out there.
For sure, man. First off, thank you everybody for the support, man. I can really feel it. I got so many supporters, and thank you to everybody that supports me. Thank you to everybody that's on my side, on my team, riding with me every day. Of course, thank you to my sponsors, man, that really help out a lot. Hatchet Industries, Covington Power Sports. Um, you know, Thank you to everybody. And let's keep going, man. We're moving on to the semifinals. We're not done yet.
We not done yet, bro. We coming. We coming for that number one spot, bro. Kurt, I love it. I love it to death. Yeah, man. We got some love here, Terry and Kevin. Carnival Fun. Uh, Terry wants to know if you can train him to fight one of his nemesis, who is a celebrity. Kurt could probably train you, Terry.
Of course,
Just, just go out to
of course.
Louisiana and we'll
That's
get
what
you
I do.
connected. That's what he does. Kurt, thank you so much for coming on, man. Again, we'll keep this one short just because it's holiday. Again, give the biggest of shout outs to your family, once we're done. Everybody, thank y'all for tuning in. And take everybody out there, thank y'all for taking some time to check out Kurt. Go check out The Ultimate Fighter. Go check out his win. Tonight is his night. Tonight is his episode. Much love to Kurt. Everybody follow 9 Nerd Yards. You can follow me, Money Blakeweather, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. Kurt, look forward to seeing where you go and how far you go. And we'll catch up with you next week, brother.
Thank you, man. Always a pleasure. Appreciate it.
For sure, man. You have a good night. Peace.
You too. Thank you.